What if I told you that the biggest mistake most people make is not failing it, is talking too soon? Think about that. Before the results, before the discipline, before the sacrifice, they announce their plans to the world. They tell everyone what they are about to become. They seek validation before they have earned the right to receive it. And in doing so, they trade real progress for temporary applause. That is the trap, because applause can feel like achievement. Attention can feel like success. And recognition can create the illusion that you are moving forward even when you are standing still. But here is the truth most people never realize. The moment you become addicted to being seen, you stop focusing on becoming stronger. You begin performing instead of building. You start chasing the image of success instead of the substance of it. And slowly, without even noticing, your energy shifts away from the work that actually matters. That is why so many people stay stuck. Not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they confuse visibility with value. They want to be known before they have mastered themselves. They want the spotlight before they have built the foundation. And they wonder why their dreams never become reality. The most dangerous thing about this cycle is that it feels productive. Talking about your goals gives you a sense of momentum. Sharing your plans creates emotional satisfaction. Hearing others praise your ambition makes you believe you are already on the path. But words alone do not change your life. Execution does. The grind does. The discipline no one sees does. And that kind of growth happens in silence. Silence is uncomfortable because it forces you to confront yourself. No applause, no audience, no external reward, just you, your habits, and your willingness to keep going. That is where real transformation begins. Because in silence, you discover whether your dream is genuine or just an idea you enjoy talking about. In silence, you learn whether your ambition is stronger than your excuses. In silence, you build the version of yourself capable of carrying the success you seek. This is the part most people avoid. They want the rewards without the hidden work. They want the recognition without the repetition. They want success without enduring the loneliness that often comes before it. But every great life is built in private before it is revealed in public. Every achievement that looks effortless from the outside is backed by years of unseen effort. Every powerful result begins with a decision to keep going when no one is watching. That is why this message matters. Because if you understand this principle, it can change the trajectory of your life. It can free you from the need for validation. It can shift your focus from appearances to substance. It can teach you how to move with purpose rather than noise. And once you learn to grind in silence, everything changes. Because the world may ignore your process, but it will never be able to ignore the results. There is a difference between speaking about success and actually building it. A lot of people confuse visibility with progress. They believe that if they talk enough about their goals, if they announce their plans loudly enough, if they make others aware of what they are trying to achieve, then somehow that becomes the same as taking action. But it does not. Talking about the dream is not the same as living the process. Declaring ambition is not the same as earning results. The truth is simple. Results speak louder than announcements because outcomes create credibility, while words without action eventually lose value. Anyone can make a promise. Anyone can say they are going to work harder, start a business, transform their life, or become great. Words are easy because they cost almost nothing. They can be spoken in a moment and forgotten just as quickly. But results are different. Results require time, sacrifice, consistency, and discipline. They demand action when motivation fades. They require effort in silence, often without recognition or immediate reward. That is why results carry weight. They are proof. They are evidence that you did more than speak you executed. In today's world, many people feel pressure to share everything. Every idea, every plan, every small step gets announced before it has even had time to grow. There is a desire to be seen, to be acknowledged, to receive. validation from others before the work is complete. But there is danger in that. When you announce your intentions too early, you may gain temporary satisfaction from people's reactions. Their praise can trick your mind into feeling as though you have already accomplished something, even though the real work has barely begun. This creates a false sense of achievement. That false sense of progress can weaken your drive. Instead of using your energy to build, you spend it maintaining an image. Instead of focusing on execution, you become focused on appearances. You begin to care more about being perceived as successful than actually becoming successful. This is where many people lose momentum. They become addicted to the announcement rather than committed to the process. Results, however, cannot be faked for long. Real outcomes reveal themselves through substance. A thriving business, a transformed body, a mastered skill, a meaningful career, these things are undeniable. They do not require explanation because they are visible proof of effort. When you produce results, you no longer need to convince anyone of your seriousness. Your actions have already done that. There is something powerful about allowing your work to mature in private. When you focus on execution instead of broadcasting, you protect your vision from outside noise. Not everyone will understand your journey, and not everyone will support it. Some may doubt you, some may criticize you, and some may unintentionally discourage you. If you are too dependent on external reactions, those opinions can derail your progress. But when you let your results develop quietly, you create space for growth without interference. This does not mean you should never share your journey. It means you should understand the timing. There is wisdom in building before revealing. There is strength in showing completed work instead of unfinished promises. When people see what you have achieved, the conversation changes. You no longer have to persuade them with your words. The evidence stands on its own. Think about the most respected individuals in any field. Their reputation is rarely built on what they said they would do. It is built on what they have done repeatedly over time. Their track record becomes their voice. Their consistency becomes their introduction. That is the kind of authority that results create. Announcements seek attention in the present moment. Results create impact that lasts beyond the moment. One is temporary, the other is enduring. This is why focusing on outcomes is always more valuable than chasing recognition. There is also a deeper personal reason why results matter more than announcements. Results build self-respect. When you set a goal and quietly work toward it until it becomes reality, you strengthen your confidence from within. You prove to yourself that you can trust your own discipline. That internal trust is far more valuable than any praise from others. Words alone do not build that trust. In fact, repeated announcements without follow-through can damage your relationship with yourself. Every unfulfilled promise weakens your belief in your own ability. Over time, you begin to doubt your commitment because your actions have not matched your intentions. But when you deliver results, even in small ways, you create a pattern of integrity. You become someone who does what they say they will do. That integrity becomes the foundation for bigger achievements. It gives you the mental strength to pursue larger goals because you know you can rely on yourself. And that reliability is what separates dreamers from builders. Another reason results speak louder than announcements is that they inspire others more effectively. People are not moved by endless talk. They are moved by transformation. When they see someone who has quietly worked and emerged stronger, they recognize the power of discipline. They see what is possible through consistent effort. That kind of example has far more influence than any declaration ever could. Results also create opportunities. The world responds to demonstrated value. Employers, clients, collaborators, and communities are drawn to those who can produce outcomes. They invest in proof, not promises. If you want doors to open, focus on building something tangible. Let your work create the conversation. Ultimately, the principle is clear. Do not confuse communication with accomplishment. Speaking about your goals may feel productive, but it is only the beginning. The true measure of progress is what you build, what you finish, and what you sustain. If you want your life to carry meaning, let your efforts become your language. Let your consistency become your message. Let your achievements become your testimony. Because at the end of the day, announcements fade quickly. They are remembered for a moment and then replaced by the next noise. But results endure. They shape. Reputations create legacies and command respect without needing to demand it. So move with purpose, work with discipline, build in silence if necessary. And when the time comes, let the quality of your results speak so clearly that no announcement is needed. Discipline over attention is one of the most important principles for anyone who wants lasting success. In a world that constantly rewards visibility, likes, applause, and recognition, it is easy to believe that attention is the ultimate prize. Many people chase the spotlight, believing that if enough people notice them, their value increases. But attention is temporary, unpredictable, and often shallow. Discipline, on the other hand, is the foundation of every meaningful achievement. It is steady, reliable, and deeply connected to long-term growth. Attention can be given instantly. A post can go viral overnight. A person can gain recognition in a matter of hours. But discipline cannot be rushed. It is built slowly through repeated actions, often in moments when no one is watching. This is why discipline is more powerful than attention. One gives you visibility, the other gives you substance. The danger of chasing attention is that it shifts your priorities. Instead of asking, how can I improve? You begin asking, how can I be seen? Instead of focusing on mastery, you focus on performance. Instead of investing in the process, you become obsessed with perception. This creates a fragile identity because it depends on external approval. When your motivation is tied to attention, your consistency becomes unstable. If people stop noticing, your effort may decline. If praise disappears, your enthusiasm may fade. This means your work is no longer driven by purpose, but by reaction. That is a dangerous place to build from because external validation is never guaranteed. Discipline frees you from that dependency. It teaches you to act regardless of who is watching. It builds the ability to continue when there is no applause, no encouragement, and no immediate reward. This kind of internal strength creates resilience. You no longer need the world's permission to keep going. The greatest achievements in life are rarely built in public view. They are developed in private moments of commitment. Early mornings when you choose to work instead of sleep. Late nights when you continue despite exhaustion. Days when progress feels invisible, but you show up anyway. These are the moments where discipline is formed. Discipline is not about doing what feels good. It is about doing what is necessary, even when it feels uncomfortable. It is choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. It is resisting distractions in favor of priorities. It is keeping promises to yourself, even when no one would know if you broke them. This is what makes discipline so valuable. It strengthens character. Attention may inflate the ego, but discipline refines the individual. It teaches patience, humility, and responsibility. These qualities are essential because success without character is unstable. Many people underestimate how much discipline shapes identity. Every action repeated consistently becomes part of who you are. If you train yourself to follow through, you become dependable. If you train yourself to persist, you become resilient. If you train yourself to prioritize growth, you become stronger over time. Attention does not create identity in the same way. It often creates an image rather than a reality. An image can be curated, polished, and projected outwardly, but discipline develops what is true beneath the surface. It builds the person behind the presentation. There is also an important difference in longevity. Attention can be lost as quickly as it is gained. Public interest shifts constantly. What is celebrated today may be forgotten tomorrow. If your sense of worth depends on staying visible, you will always feel pressure to maintain relevance. Discipline offers stability because it is not tied to trends or external reactions. It remains valuable regardless of circumstance. Skills developed through discipline continue to serve you long after attention fades. Habits formed through discipline continue producing results over time. This is why disciplined individuals often outlast those who rely on popularity alone. While others are focused on being noticed, they are focused on becoming better. While others are distracted by appearances, they are committed to substance. Over the years, that difference compounds. The athlete who trains consistently gains an edge over the one who seeks media praise. The entrepreneur who studies, adapts, and works steadily builds stronger foundations than the one who spends more time promoting than improving. The student who commits to learning deeply will outperform the one who seeks shortcuts for recognition. In every field, discipline creates mastery. Attention may bring opportunity, but discipline determines whether you can sustain it. Another powerful aspect of discipline is that it builds confidence rooted in evidence. When you know you have done the work, your confidence is not dependent on what others think. It comes from preparation. It comes from effort. It comes from knowing that your abilities are supported by action. This kind of confidence is far more durable than confidence based on praise. External compliments can boost you temporarily, but they can also disappear. Internal confidence built through discipline remains because it is grounded in experience. Choosing discipline over attention also means redefining success. Instead of measuring progress by visibility, you measure it by consistency. Instead of seeking applause, you seek improvement. Instead of asking whether people notice you, you ask whether you are becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable. This shift changes everything. It moves your focus from external outcomes to internal development. It creates a healthier relationship with achievement because your value is no longer tied to public response. Discipline teaches delayed gratification. It reminds you that meaningful rewards often require sustained effort before visible results appear. This is one of the hardest lessons in a culture built on immediacy, but it is also one of the most transformative. When you learn to trust the process, you become less anxious about instant recognition. You understand that growth takes time. You accept that unseen work is still valuable. You become willing to invest in the future rather than demanding immediate proof. That patience gives you an advantage because many people quit too soon. They abandon their efforts when results are not immediate. They mistake silence for failure. But disciplined individuals continue because they know progress is often invisible before it becomes undeniable. Ultimately, discipline over attention is about choosing depth over display. It is about valuing what is lasting over what is temporary. It is about becoming someone of substance rather than someone who simply appears successful. Attention may attract eyes, but discipline builds excellence. Attention may create noise, but discipline creates results. Attention may satisfy the ego, but discipline fulfills purpose. If you want a life of meaning, impact, and lasting achievement, do not make attention your goal. Make discipline your standard. Because in the end, the world remembers those who built something real, not those who merely sought to be seen. Protecting your vision is one of the most underrated disciplines in the journey toward success. Many people believe that once they have a dream, the next step is to tell everyone about it. They share their plans widely, seek opinions, and invite others into a process that is still fragile. While this may feel natural, it can also become one of the greatest threats to growth. Not everyone deserves access to your dreams while they are still developing. A vision, in its early stages, it is delicate, and exposing it too soon can weaken its potential. A vision is more than an idea. It is a picture of the future you are working to create. It carries your purpose, your goals, and the direction of your life. Because of that, it deserves protection. When something matters deeply, you do not place it carelessly in the hands of anyone willing to comment. You guard it until it is strong enough to stand on its own. One reason protecting your vision is so important, because outside voices can shape your belief. When you are at the beginning of a journey, confidence is still forming. Doubt can enter easily. A careless remark, a skeptical opinion, or a dismissive reaction can affect how you see your own potential. Even if you appear unaffected, negative energy can linger in the back of your mind. Not everyone who speaks into your life understands your path. Some people evaluate your dream based on their own fears, limitations, or experiences. If they failed at something similar, they may project that failure onto you. If they cannot imagine what you see, they may label it unrealistic. Their perspective is not necessarily truth, but if you absorb it too early, it can distort your vision. This is why discernment matters. You must be selective about who has access to your goals. Supportive and constructive voices can strengthen your resolve, but unnecessary exposure to doubt can drain your momentum. A seed needs the right environment to grow. If it is placed in harsh conditions too soon, it may never develop into what it was meant to become. Protecting your vision also preserves your focus. When too many people are involved in your process, their opinions can create confusion. Instead of moving with clarity, you begin second-guessing yourself. You may adjust your direction based on what others expect rather than what aligns with your purpose. The result is a scattered path. Instead of building intentionally, you react to external influence. Your dream becomes diluted because it is no longer driven by your conviction, but by the noise surrounding it. Clarity is essential for progress. To build something meaningful, you need a strong connection to your original purpose. Protecting your vision allows you to nurture that connection without distraction. It gives you the space to think deeply, refine your ideas, and act with intention. Another reason to guard your vision is that premature exposure can satisfy your ego without producing results. When you tell others about your plans, their excitement can create a temporary sense of achievement. Their praise may make you feel as though progress has already been made, even though the real work has not begun. This emotional reward can reduce urgency. The satisfaction of being seen as ambitious may replace the discipline required to execute. In some cases, people become more attached to the identity of having a dream than to the effort of making it real. Protecting your vision keeps your energy directed toward action rather than approval. It reminds you that the goal is not to impress others with your plans, but to create tangible outcomes. There is also power in allowing your work to speak before your words do. When you reveal results instead of intentions, your credibility is stronger. People respond differently to completed work than to unfinished promises. Success introduced through evidence carries more weight than success introduced through explanation. This does not mean secrecy in every circumstance. Collaboration, mentorship, and accountability can be valuable, but those relationships should be intentional. The key is understanding that access to your vision should be earned, not assumed. Trust should be given to those who contribute wisdom, encouragement, or strategic insight. It should not be extended casually to anyone who is simply curious or opinionated. Protecting your vision is also about emotional resilience. The journey toward any meaningful goal involves setbacks, uncertainty, and challenges. If your dream has been shared too widely, those difficult moments may feel amplified by the awareness of others. You may feel pressure to meet expectations or embarrassment when progress is slower than anticipated. Keeping your vision close allows you to navigate challenges privately and with greater freedom. It creates room for adjustment without the burden of external scrutiny. You can evolve, learn, and recalibrate without feeling the need to justify every step. This freedom supports growth because it prioritizes development over performance. You are no longer managing appearances, you are building substance. History shows that many great achievements were cultivated quietly before they were recognized publicly. Behind every visible success is a period of unseen preparation. During that stage, the vision is strengthened through consistent effort rather than public discussion. This hidden season is essential. It builds discipline, patience, and confidence. It teaches you to trust the process even when recognition is absent. Protecting your vision does not isolate you from others. It strengthens your ability to steward what matters most. It ensures that your dream remains rooted in purpose rather than shaped by unnecessary influence. It also reinforces personal responsibility. When you hold your vision closely, you rely less on external validation and more on internal conviction. This deepens your commitment because your motivation is no longer tied to how others respond. Ultimately, protecting your vision is an act of respect for your purpose, your future, and the process required to reach it. It acknowledges that not everything meaningful should be exposed before it's time. Some things need to be built in silence, refined in private, and revealed only when they are ready. Your dream deserves that level of care. It deserves boundaries. It deserves intentionality. And most importantly, it deserves your unwavering belief before it receives anyone else's opinion. Because when your vision is protected, it has the opportunity to grow stronger than doubt, clearer than distraction, and powerful enough to become reality. Consistency is one of the most misunderstood forces behind success. Many people admire greatness, but they often focus only on the visible outcome, the championship, the thriving business, the transformed body, the public recognition. What they rarely see is the repeat daily effort that made those achievements possible. Greatness is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in ordinary actions repeated over time. Small steps done consistently create extraordinary results. This truth is often difficult to accept because it lacks glamour. People are drawn to breakthroughs, sudden transformations, and overnight success stories. But in reality, most lasting accomplishments are the product of steady, disciplined progress. They come from showing up every day, even when motivation is low and results are not immediately visible. Consistency matters because it compounds. A single action may seem insignificant in the moment, but repeated over weeks, months, and years, it creates substantial change. Reading 10 pages a day may not feel life-changing at first, but over a year, it becomes several books completed. Exercising for 30 minutes each day may seem small, but over time, it transforms health and endurance. Saving a modest amount regularly can eventually create financial security. The power lies not in the size of the action, but in its repetition. Many people fail because they underestimate the value of small efforts. They wait for the perfect opportunity, the ideal conditions, or the surge of motivation that will push them into action. But waiting often leads to inaction. Consistency teaches a different lesson. Progress does not require perfection. It requires commitment. This means taking action even when conditions are imperfect. It means understanding that small, steady movement is more valuable than occasional bursts of effort followed by long periods of inactivity. The person who works consistently, even at a moderate pace, often surpasses the person who works intensely but inconsistently. This is because momentum matters. Consistent action builds habits, and habits reduce resistance. What once required discipline becomes automatic. Over time, these habits shape identity. If you write daily, you become a writer. If you train regularly, you become an athlete. If you practice discipline in your finances, you become financially responsible. Consistency is not just about what you do, it is about who you become. This transformation of identity is one of the most powerful aspects of consistency. Each repeated action reinforces a self-image. When you follow through on your commitments, you prove to yourself that you are reliable. That internal trust strengthens confidence and resilience. Inconsistent effort, on the other hand, creates uncertainty. If you only act when inspired, you teach yourself that your goals depend on emotion rather than discipline. This weakens your ability to sustain progress. Consistency builds emotional independence. It allows you to act regardless of mood, circumstances, or temporary setbacks. This is critical because motivation is unpredictable. Some days you will feel energized and focused. Other days you will feel tired or discouraged. If your progress depends solely on motivation, it will always be unstable. Consistency ensures that your actions continue even when enthusiasm fades. It turns discipline into routine and routine into long-term growth. Another reason consistency creates greatness is that it strengthens skill over time. Repetition leads to mastery. Whether in art, business, sports, or personal development, expertise comes through sustained practice. The first attempts may be imperfect. Results may be slow, but each repetition improves understanding and ability. Over time, what was once difficult becomes refined. This process requires patience because growth is often invisible at first. Early efforts may not produce dramatic results. This can be discouraging for those seeking immediate rewards, but consistency teaches trust in delayed outcomes. It reminds you that visible success is often preceded by a long period of unseen progress. Consider the way nature works. A tree does not reach full height overnight. It grows gradually, strengthening its roots before its branches expand. The same is true for personal and professional growth. Foundations are built quietly before results become obvious. Those who remain consistent through this hidden phase eventually experience breakthroughs. To others, these breakthroughs may appear sudden, but they are the product of long-term effort. Consistency also creates credibility. People trust those who demonstrate reliability over time. Whether in leadership, relationships, or career, repeated follow-through establishes reputation. Promises may attract attention, but consistency earns respect. A person who consistently delivers quality work becomes known for excellence. A leader who consistently supports others builds trust. A friend who consistently shows up creates loyalty. In every area of life, repeated dependability matters more than isolated moments of brilliance. One of the greatest challenges to consistency is boredom. Repetition can feel mundane. The daily grind may lack excitement, but greatness often requires embracing the ordinary. The difference between average and exceptional individuals is often their willingness to continue doing the basics long after others lose interest. They understand that mastery is not found in novelty, but in refinement. This mindset shifts your perspective. Instead of seeking constant stimulation, you learn to value discipline. You begin to appreciate the process itself rather than chasing only the end result. Consistency also protects against emotional extremes. When progress is tied to regular habits, setbacks become less disruptive. A single failure does not define the journey because the larger pattern remains intact. This creates resilience. You recover more quickly because your foundation is stable. In contrast, those without consistency often struggle to regain momentum after obstacles. Without established habits, setbacks can lead to abandonment of goals. Consistency keeps you anchored. Ultimately, greatness is not a matter of talent alone. Talent may provide an advantage, but without consistent effort, it often goes unrealized. Meanwhile, disciplined individuals who commit to steady progress frequently surpass those with greater natural ability. This is because greatness is less about potential and more about sustained execution. Small actions repeated daily may seem unremarkable, but they are the architecture of extraordinary lives. Each decision, each habit, each moment of follow-through contributes to a larger outcome. The results may not be immediate, but over time, they become undeniable. If you want greatness, do not search for shortcuts or dramatic leaps. Focus on the next small action you can repeat consistently. Honor the process. Respect the routine. Trust the accumulation of effort. Because in the end, extraordinary achievement is rarely the result of one defining moment. It is the result of countless ordinary moments handled with discipline, commitment, and consistency. Let success make the noise is a principle rooted in humility, patience, and confidence. It challenges the instinct many people have to seek recognition before they have earned it. In a world where self-promotion is constant and visibility often feels more important than substance, this mindset serves as a reminder that true achievement does not need excessive announcement. Real success carries its own voice. It commands attention not because it demands it, but because it becomes impossible to ignore. Many people feel pressure to prove themselves through words. They want others to know their goals, their plans, and their ambitions. They speak often about what they intend to achieve, hoping to gain validation or admiration. But intention alone is not achievement. Talking about success may create temporary excitement, but it does not create lasting impact. When you allow success to make the noise, you shift your focus from being heard to being effective. You stop spending energy on convincing others of your potential and instead invest that energy into developing your ability. This creates a deeper kind of confidence because your self-worth is no longer tied to external reactions. Words can attract attention, but results create credibility. A person may speak boldly about what they will accomplish, but if those claims are unsupported by action, they eventually lose meaning. On the other hand, someone who works quietly and produces measurable outcomes builds trust naturally. This trust is powerful because it is earned rather than requested. Success that speaks for itself is grounded in evidence. It does not rely on exaggeration or performance. It is visible through actions, achievements, and consistency. This is why lasting respect often comes from those who let their work stand as proof. There is also wisdom in silence during the process of growth. Early stages of any journey are fragile. When you constantly seek recognition before results are established, you may become distracted by maintaining an image. You begin to care more about appearing successful than becoming successful. This shift can weaken discipline because attention becomes the reward instead of progress. Allowing success to make the noise protects you from this trap. It keeps your priorities centered on substance. Instead of performing for others, you remain committed to the work itself. This creates stronger foundations because your achievements are built on real effort rather than perception. Another important aspect of this principle is patience. Success that truly matters often takes time. It requires long periods of unseen work, learning, and adjustment. During these seasons, there may be little external recognition. If your motivation depends on applause, these quiet periods can feel discouraging. But when you trust the process, you understand that silence is not failure. It is preparation. Patience allows you to endure this hidden phase without rushing to prove yourself. You recognize that visibility should come as a result of achievement, not as a substitute for it. This mindset reduces unnecessary pressure. Instead of constantly updating others on your progress, you free yourself to focus on execution. You move without needing approval. You build without seeking permission. You let time and effort shape the story. When success finally emerges, it carries greater impact because it is rooted in authenticity. Humility is another core element of letting success make the noise. Humility does not mean minimizing your accomplishments. It means allowing them to stand without excessive self-promotion. It reflects confidence in the value of your work. When you know what you have built, you do not need to overstate it. You trust that quality will be recognized. This kind of humility creates respect because it demonstrates maturity. People are often more impressed by those who achieve quietly than by those who constantly seek attention. There is strength in restraint. There is dignity in letting your actions speak before your words do. This principle also protects relationships. Excessive self-promotion can create distance because it may come across as insecurity or ego. When every conversation centers on proving your worth, connection becomes strained. But when you allow your life to reflect your achievements naturally, others experience your growth rather than hearing endless claims about it. This creates a more genuine influence. Success that makes the noise inspires others more effectively than success that is loudly advertised. Transformation is more convincing than declaration. People are motivated by what they see demonstrated in real life. A disciplined lifestyle, meaningful contributions, and tangible accomplishments communicate possibility far more powerfully than motivational speeches alone. Another reason this principle matters is that it encourages long-term thinking. Noise is often about immediate attention. Success is about enduring value. When you prioritize the latter, you focus on building something sustainable rather than chasing short-term recognition. This perspective shapes decisions differently. You invest in skill development, relationships, and systems that create lasting impact. You resist shortcuts that may generate quick praise but weaken future stability. In doing so, you create a foundation that can support continued growth. Letting success make the noise does not mean hiding achievements forever. It means understanding the proper sequence. Work first, results second, recognition third. When that order is respected, success carries authenticity. Recognition becomes a byproduct rather than the goal. This distinction matters because it preserves integrity. Your actions remain aligned with purpose rather than distorted by the desire to impress. It also builds inner peace. When you no longer feel the need to constantly prove yourself, you become less affected by comparison. You stop measuring your progress against others' visibility. Instead, you focus on your own path. This reduces anxiety and strengthens self-awareness. You understand that true progress is personal and cannot always be captured in public moments. Ultimately, letting success make the noise is about trusting that meaningful work will be recognized in time. It is about choosing substance over spectacle. It is about valuing execution more than announcement. And it is about building a life so grounded in discipline and results that your achievements become the loudest statement you ever make. Words may capture attention for a moment, but success, when earned through patience, humility, and consistent effort, creates an impact that lasts far beyond the noise. Before you close this video, understand this. The difference between the life you dream about and the life you actually live will always come down to what you do when nobody is watching. Not when the cameras are off, not when people are cheering, not when the motivation feels high, but in the quiet moments when it is just you, your goals, and the decision to keep going. That is where your future is built. The world often celebrates the outcome, but very few people respect the process enough to stay committed to it. Everyone wants the rewards, but not everyone is willing to endure the discipline, the loneliness, and the repetition that greatness demands. That is why so many start, but so few finish. If you truly want to separate yourself, you must learn to embrace the grind in silence. You must stop looking for shortcuts, stop seeking validation, and stop measuring your worth by how much attention you receive. Attention is temporary. Applause fades, trends change. But the habits you build, the discipline you develop, and the results you create, those stay with you. Your success does not need an introduction. It needs a foundation. And that foundation is built through consistency, patience, and relentless effort. Every early morning, every late night, every sacrifice that no one sees is shaping the person you are becoming. Even when progress feels invisible, something is happening. Your mindset is strengthening. Your skills are improving. Your resilience is growing. Do not underestimate the value of unseen work, because one day the results of that hidden effort will become impossible to ignore. And when that day comes, you will not need to explain your journey. Your life will tell the story. Your achievements will answer every doubt. Your discipline will become your legacy. So as you leave this video, ask yourself one question. Are you chasing attention, or are you building something real? Because the answer to that question will determine the direction of your future. If you are serious about your goals, then commit today, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. Commit to working when you do not feel like it. Commit to protecting your vision. Commit to showing up every single day. Commit to becoming the kind of person whose actions speak louder than words. The world does not need another person talking about success. It needs people who are willing to earn it. And that starts with you. So keep your head down, stay focused, and trust the process. Let others make noise. You build, you grow, you rise. And when your season comes, let your success speak so loudly that no introduction is necessary. Because in the end, the strongest statement you will ever make is not in what you say it is, in what you become.